Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So in today's video, we're going to actually do an entire account review since all the free stuff has now been distributed, and we're going to start off the video with a bang. Now if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So, if you've been following along on my personal journey in playing Another Eden for 3+ years since Global first started, you'll know that I've already side graded my favorite waifu to the Cyan Scyther. And I do apologize for some of the spoilers here. Obviously, some of these units are linked to the future mythos, and so you may not have come across all the identities yet. But that being said, there are 5 alter units now in the universe for the future mythos, and so I am missing a Primaya, and unfortunately not able to get those opuses done for her since there's no point in getting them, and I don't have that unit in any form. But that being said, I do have the other 4 units, which you can clearly see is Isuka, Dewey, Toova, and of course Suzette as the 4th altar that I already side graded. And so I've been waiting until I did the Grandmaster's drop to make sure I don't get a dupe before side grading these 3 units to my team. Now, first of all, if you're asking whether or not I'm going to do a 5-star review on them, I believe I already did RCF a while ago when I borrowed it off my son's account. The other 2 I'll try to squeeze in over the coming week as I have chance to. Now, that being said, just remember in general, when side grading, wait until you know you've finished pulling the vast majority of the targets you're going for, in terms of not necessarily waiting months or years or anything like that. Just like, for example, if you know a new 5-star is coming and you know you're going to be summoning on that next week or something like that, I wouldn't upgrade ahead of time because there is an off chance that you get a dupe, and that would be a complete waste of those valuable chants, treatises, codexes, or opuses. And opuses by far are the most valuable since you can only get them from red keys. And so I did wait to do that Grandmaster drop. That would apply to anyone, for example, doing Fatefuls or still having stones and pulling, for example, on the current banners. You can save that Grandmaster drop for a little bit before deciding to pull on which banner, depending on what you've come across, especially if you're a newer account where you don't have a complete roster. In my case, I did get that sweet Hina, and now I am able to side grade all 3 of these units. Alright, so after this, we're just going to go directly into the account, and you can see exactly what I have. I haven't done one of these videos for a number of months now. Alright, so we'll just get right into it. I'll try to follow the same format as I did before, so I do apologize if I had forgotten. But usually what I do is I'll start with my entire roster list in order from light to shadow. And you can see from the first upgrade portion of the video, I have now broken the 160 character mark. I am still missing both Primayas, a Cynthia, as well as Yukino. Other than that, that is pretty much it. So we're just going to quickly go through the light and shadow. And then we'll go by 5 stars as well. Okay, so let me know in the comments below how your account is doing. I know a lot of you are newer players, some of you are older players as well. You can see that even with, as a free-to-play, you do have some light, and on those bots, Rainbow Sisters and Knights, they're not too high, in the 30 range. So obviously, by pulling on 10 pulls, you definitely do better that way than pulling on singles. Because keep in mind, if you pull on singles, you're going to have a much higher chance of hitting one of those 3.5 versus eventually on a 10 pull, you'll get at least 1 4-star. So bear that in mind. Also, if you're wondering why some units are a little bit off, keep in mind that in units I actually did use quite a bit, like for example the Necocos of the world, I did use some items and bring her up to 15 instead of 16 to signify that, for example, I hadn't pulled her directly. A lot of these are dupes. My highest light one was the Mariel, which I had hit multiple dupes, did not use any items on them. For the most part, you can see some of these lower tier, lower 5 stars that only have 1 5 and 1 4. For example, in the Daenerys, I hit it that way. So you can, it's easy for me to kind of track who I hit as a 5 star generally and who I hit as a 4.5. I actually do try to keep track as well to kind of see, what units I have. And of course, remember that if you do side grades on your altars, they start with 0 shadow. Okay, so back to leveling and the units. Here's my 5-star roster. So obviously Vivette is our, relatively free to play. I know that most people don't call her free to play, so we'll just leave it at that. And I'll just quickly go through. You've probably seen most of these in action, and some of these you haven't. Like Vayna, even though I've gotten her to level 80, never used her yet. Myu's obviously still new, haven't experimented with her, and some of these do have alter forms as well. So let's see. I believe I have alters for Daenerys. So there we go. Of course, Garyu is free, so everyone has both versions of that. Levia. Hopefully you have gotten your fishing done and gotten Levia as a free unit there. I actually do not have AS Mighty yet. Myrus, I did side grade that, so I do have both. Negi, of course. You've seen my video of getting her to 255, so I do have all 3 forms. There you go. Rosetta, I'm sure you remember me pulling that long time ago. Side graded for the AS Toova there. Vayne, I only have the 1 form. Anabel, I did side grade to the AS. I had normal style for the longest time. Miyu was also a side grade. Remember that as a free to play, we try not to pull on units we already have a version of. Shani, I believe I actually hit both versions. And I remember back in the day, don't have a Shannon. I remember back in the day trying to get a Shani to fight off the Ratly Otherlands. Well, that was a disaster. Never got her. However, she came back to spook me later on. This one is funny. I got the AS and side graded to regular style. And yes, this is still a 4-star Isuka. Surprisingly, I do have enough codexes to side grade Isuka to ES. Just hasn't gone around to do that because honestly, I'm just slowly upgrading the units that I've been waiting for. I still have to do some other units here. Shion, of course, I don't even have the other style. Victor is one I haven't paid for, and a lot of you have recommended using him because I've seen some of those crazy endgame strats with those low turn global first clears. They are amazing, and I really do have to do that. Same thing, surprisingly, only a 4.5 Lulu. Radica never even bothered, and so on and so forth. Now, it's not that I don't find these units useful. You can see the Radicas, Alulus, Philo, Biaka, so on and so forth. It's just that, again, haven't needed them on my team, and so haven't side graded. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Alright, so I think that's everything. So next, we will go into the item list here. You can see my I haven't claimed all those records yet. I try to keep those when I am low or about to summon on a massive banner. And so for those who are wondering, I'm probably going to be summoning on Orlea unless something surprisingly comes. Now this is my list of key items. I'm sure it doesn't really matter. However, there are some interesting ones like the Moon Boys and stuff like that that are kind of found along the way. And those kind of add some storyline and background to your game. And so some of these aren't necessary. Many of them are, for example, if you need them for unlocking things like the Cat Shrine Key, those were Mark of Man, those were part of the storyline. Some of these are key items for upgrading weapons. You remember those shiny alloys and things from the Complex Dream, for example. I had extras of those. Flower Gore Oil, again, is an optional thing. They shine some extra light onto the background between Sophia and so on and so forth. And of course, these ones were from the EPS fights. And these are the points that everyone gets when working on those side episodes to unlock the maximum number of point rewards. All right, so in terms of weapons, remember that you do get awards for getting as many weapons as possible. So I would highly recommend, especially if you're newer, but even if you're a veteran, go back and buy every weapon that you are missing, craft them if you can, so on and so forth. Not only that, you don't have to upgrade everyone to plus 10. You can see that some of them are just, plus 1, plus 2, and so on and so forth. Other ones are quite a bit higher, depending on my use at that point in the game. Okay. After this, I'm just going to scroll down. No one really cares about those level 1s and stuff like that. Manifests are always on top, and again, each one counts as an extra weapon. Not to mention, you do get 2 fights, extra chrono stones, and so on and so forth. This one, Lavager, yuck. And for Luna weapons, I actually crafted quite a few. I would highly recommend doing that. Many of, I guess, us endgame players who are fighting super bosses, we use that specifically to kind of increase our speed by a lot. And that helps us time our units so that when we VC in, or if certain people act first or later on, that allows us to kind of plan our fights. And so Luna weapons are relatively easy to get. For those who don't remember, they are in a combination of the City of Lost Paradise dungeon for Claude AS, where you can grind out those upgrades of materials, and you can get the materials from the I guess the lunar area from as you walk through the mythos. There is some overworld place, and also I think there is the Schnod Castle. They have some materials there for both the Luna weapons as well as the valuable Moonrealm gear. This is an interesting one. This was my original adamantium weapon. I know we can get 2 in the game, and unless they upgrade it in the future, haven't really looked into it. I mean, I've upgraded it, used it at one point. Since the newer weapons such as prismatics, of course, and came out, the adamantium is not as necessary. Even for newer players, technically you can get the adamantium, but you'll probably get the prismatic first if you're able to grind through that complex stream. So in my opinion, prismatic is definitely among the top weapons in the game. Adds a lot of magic attack as well as high physical attack. Very, very good. Not to mention it increases your speed and increases your crit rate. So regardless of what level you're at in the game, definitely very good. I use them all the time on all my top level units. Of course, void weapons from the dual Hachios are also valuable. The older Miyaki weapons and stuff like that, not nearly so much, but more for collectability and so on and so forth. I remember the wisdom weapons back in the day from the auctions were great for elemental attack as well, because they have the high magic attack for those elemental attacks. However, the prismatics really have replaced it. I haven't used the wisdom for some time, although, hey, having it in the roster is great. And again, adds more collectability so that you hit all those extra rewards as you hit 30 bows, 40 bows, 50 bows, and so on and so forth. Apollo's Harp. I really do hope that they make normal style Ciel and Miyu much better in the future, because, for day 1 players, we definitely spent a lot of time grinding that crap, and I hope that they make those units more powerful, either by upgrading that weapon or maybe doing a fight just like a manifest fight. These are the cooking ones, for example, I believe from the Tales of. So some of them you may not have seen, especially if you're newer to the game. Definitely use the wiki as needed to look into the weapons. Now these are new, and I'll be doing a short video about that, but in this case, all the newest weapons have the attack all enemies, and apparently what that means is it's actually not an attack all enemy weapon, it is a last stand weapon. So what that means is that's going to increase 30% attack damage for each additional mob or boss in front of you. So if it's 2 enemies, it'll be plus 30%, just like the last stand, or does not stack, keep in mind. However, the MP regen is not bad, especially in longer fights or fights where potentially they can drain you. However, the downside to that, of course, is you already have units that can do that. You have the Alter Toova that, for example, can have no MP first turn. You've got the Pizzica regen, so on and so forth. And there's also other gear that can do that. This one I actually should level up just for completion's sake. It was a collectability item. Really has nothing to do with anything, though. It's more, when I have time. A lot of these things is more like, how much time do we all have in getting everything done? And even for someone like myself, you probably wonder, you spend a lot of time in a game. Well, GamerDad actually does spend a lot of time in the game, just not in what you would expect. I don't sit there for hours and grind out everything. Where I actually use up most of my time, honestly, is creating videos for you. For those who aren't YouTubers, you'll know that you might not know this, but it actually takes a lot of effort to think up new ideas, especially not just the 5-star reviews things, but just new ideas about topics to talk about, and even strategies to come up with to take down bosses and stuff like that, right? So that's the difficult part. I mean, making the video is only 10 minutes long. I would say on average, a 10-minute video could take an hour, could take 2 hours, maybe even longer. Now, some of them are much shorter, of course, but some of them are much longer. Okay. Anyways, back to the video here. Again, you can see that these ones are from cooking. Check the wiki if you're not sure of some of these names, because some of them might be new. I think most people are probably wondering where these come from, and that's from Future Alzion, other lands, which I highly don't recommend you using keys for. Waste of time in this case, unless you want to just grind out the weapons and gear once for collection purposes. In which case, hey, not bad. You'll probably add to your thing. Other weapons you see I have multiples of are the ones I find, or gear that have multiple ones. I find these useful when you use them for fighting. Certain gear is much more valuable, and so I try to have a 4 set, for example, of the Discipline Ring. Remember that gives 50 MP at max level, and remember that most magic users who wear rings, they get mental focus based on max MP. So this is why if you're wondering what kind of gear I bring into boss fights, I grind out manually the ones I need, and in that case, it does take a lot of time. Now, these Pitch Dark have finally been able to be upgraded, I believe, as of this update. I haven't done it yet, but I will do that shortly. Okay, and I do think that the Lost Knight gear, just as an aside, is great. At max, plus 15 power and speed, so not only the speed helps you kind of balance out who's going to attack first and so on and so forth, the power is not bad at all for helping you attack, since, power directly correlates with physical attack. Well, not directly, but, works in the damage formula, so to speak. Okay, now next are the badges. Now, some of these badges are high-level badges that are from cat stamps, for example. Other ones, of course, are from trading in, and some of them are more recent as well. So again, if you're not sure where they are, just make sure you Google them on the AE Wiki. These ones are very useful if you want to really walk through dungeons, or in some cases, farm certain materials. This is also really great, although I haven't used them recently. And of course, some of them do have some disadvantages as well. HP badge, great for tanks. And remember that some of these abilities don't combine with other Grasta ores, especially if it already says you're only allowed to have one effect. Like the bullseye, you can't have 2 bullseyes, for example. So one gear, one ore will not do it. I know I have a lot of these shade resistance. I think they dropped in certain dungeons for the on my goal of getting 255 Clark. And the worst part is, AE doesn't really have a way to help you sort or destroy crappy badges that you have 10 of. These are very valuable from some stages of boss rush, so make sure you try to get those if you can. Really helps with leveling up your units better. Other ones, these drop from the farming sealed realm, so you can use those if needed. They're not quite as good. Same thing with the other gits and stuff like that. That was from the other sealed realm where you can farm git. These badges are specifically from the cat stamps, and so you might not have those yet, especially if you don't have the maximum of 1650. Other ones are are from the earlier stage, and these are great. Like the int speed, power speed, I use them all the time. Other than that, speed 40, same thing, very useful for making certain people VC in and out. In the case of units that are damaging based on speed, like AS Kikyo and AS Tsukiha, then you would use those specifically for that. They replace power badges because in speed-based formulas or speed-based units, speed increases their damage and so on and so forth. Most of the time though, for physical attackers, you want a power and speed combination, and those are pretty hard to come by. A lot of these 30s are of course from the newest Underworld dungeon. I'm just going to quickly speed through. In general, if you're wondering what I shred, I only shred any badges that basically have a base total level less than 25. And so these have 26, 22 plus 24. Anything less than that, you know, you really don't need them at the time. So I'm just going to skip that from now. Cooling box, I don't have anything in there. I have to drop these off still. I haven't actually done a lot of the fishing for a long time because I just haven't had time. If you're wondering what I have for my fishing for Levia, this is the gear I have. Obviously, some of it has been leveled up since I got Levia, but I do have pretty much everything for that. In terms of this one, this is the level I'm at. So again, haven't done it for a while. I know that chapters 3 and 4 will be coming out, and so I'll get back to it when I can get a chance to. The good thing again about games, this game, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. Okay, so I know a lot of you are probably wondering, how many chants does Will have? What kind of treatises, codexes, and so on and so forth. So after those 3 upgrades, I still have quite a bit of chants. If you're wondering how many units I actually fully upgraded, I know I talked about it earlier. I have upgraded, I'll put the comment, I guess, in the description of the video. I have upgraded many units from the 3 encounter units. Remember the Garyu, the Azami, the Serenes, each cost 5 chants. Some of my, there's also things like Ewan, Shannon, Shion, so on and so forth. So I will have a list in my description if you're actually curious as to which units I upgraded. Other than that, these tomes are 4-star tomes. I do have 10, and if you're wondering why I have exactly 10, anything more than 10, I burn it down when I'm burning books and tomes to make VC Grasta in the Cat Shrine in present-day Garrelia. I know it's a little bit OCD where I kind of, just keep it at 10, but that, that's how Gamer Dad runs. Some of these are, of course, 5-star tomes, and so when I get 10, I will burn the tomes into a VC Grasta and then shred those Grasta for those special crystals and special crystal fragments to build other VC Grasta. In the case of dungeons where I know I'm continuing to get a lot of them, then I'll make 3 of the VC Grasta so that eventually I will have time to get, a true VC Grasta and then burn the rest. And if you're wondering why some of these treatises have a ton, some don't have as much, most of the ones I don't have as many. I've already made 3 VC Grastas or a true VC Grasta, and so I just kind of left it. See, I could actually side grade that already. Aha, almost there. I didn't buy the last 2, and I will eventually. And yes, I do have an extra opus for that eventual VC Grasta for my sweet Suzette. Right. Same thing, 1 away from a VC Grasta for Persephone. And yes, this is, again, after I've upgraded. So my luck in drops and picks have been quite crazy. Is Mistrar. I'm still missing 3 more. Or I could get 1 and buy 2. No need for me to buy the unit at this time. Same thing as usual. I only upgrade when I want the unit, but mainly only if I need the unit. The altars I actually really did want. I wanted to do the character quests, which I know are older units, but upload videos of their character quests when I get a chance to, for those who want to catch those. Now next on the list is the upgrade items. So if you're wondering about my scrolls, I've got a ton of scrolls. I'm sure some of you don't have nearly as much. And the reason I have that much is I use frogs in stage 4 of the Battle Simulator boss rush in order to kill off things. So I don't use scrolls in general. And these are the items, of course, very, very valuable. Don't use them on free units in general. So for example, even the Guiding Light Sword, I don't usually recommend using that on an Aldo, even though some of you might want to speed that up. If you do, hey, more power for you. You can now use your red keys on other dungeons. For people like people like day ones, I prefer to use this on gacha units, either to make a unit 255 or bring them to other, points where you can get valuable extra things like 80, 120, and 200, for example, to name a few. Coal mining. This is an old one, so I won't spend too much time there. I have finished the time mine and have all the rewards, although I didn't buy max of everything. Same thing. These are just leftover stuff from that era. Okay. So Grasta is probably what you're wondering about, what I use, what I've upgraded. And so here, I'll just go through a quick list. This is going to take a little bit longer, so I do apologize for that. And I did dormant many of these, so some I can't tell you which ones I dormanted, which ones I didn't, okay? But yeah. A lot of these powerful ones are from Battle Simulator, aka Boss Rush, so you'll have to eventually grind those all out. If you're wondering more information about Grasta and the system in general, I do have a video in my Back to Basics talking about kind of how to maximize your Grasta. In the case of newer Grasta, where you get 2 almighty powers, I actually haven't used it recently, but I am planning to have a Grasta carry as many for a certain type of team, and then obviously maximize the damage and stuff that way. Kind of like the Lance, I believe, has 2 max HP Lances, like right there, and so you can carry 2 of them to enhance your units. Same thing with the IDA School one, and don't forget that in the newest dungeon, you can now get Lost Lab Grasta. So for max HP, almighty powers and stuff like that, and using Dormanted on those, you can share that ability so anyone can gain the benefits of that. So I've basically maxed out or paid for all the ones you can share. Those are the most valuable in my opinion. And of course, with the pain ones, I actually have multiple hammers, as you can see, and they all have the enemy numbers and either bullseye or something like that. And I actually have grinded enough, so essentially I have usually 2 or 3 sets for each weapon type, all with bullseye and enemy numbers, so I don't have to swap around nearly as much. Of course, if you've done less of the dungeon, you won't have nearly as many, for example, right? So I guess just scroll down. You can see how many pain acts I have, and all of them have the benefits that I need. Some of them are weak point as well, so I can just move them around without nearly having to tinker as well. Because boss fighting is already difficult as it is. Tinkering around and moving around Grasta ore is just going to be a pain. At least I have multiple sets of the pain Grasta for each weapon type, and so I just move it around to my main DPS at the time. For example, right now I'm using Flamel for grinding out dungeons, so I moved over the Grasta from Eva, for example. Okay, and then some of them I haven't upgraded yet, so like this one and so on and so forth. I really should, haven't gotten a chance to, so yeah, lots of things to do for Gamer Dad. Same thing, I won't spend too much time here, but yeah, I'll just show you mainly what I've upgraded, so you're wondering what I probably use more often. Other ones haven't gotten a chance to, occasionally maybe doing a little bit, and yeah, just left them there. Yeah, I know a couple of invincibility is very good if you want to regain MP HP after each battle, but there's ways around that, and especially with 0 MP farming, I don't find the need for that for the most part. Now Falcon's Blessing from the Underworld is very, very useful. The first attack preemptive is great for not only farming teams, they're great for using a particular unit to switch out for setting a 2-turn zone or something like that. So I do use that quite a bit. And of course, you've seen this in many videos, including my own, the proficiency debuff resistance. So you have dedicated ones for your DPS if you need them. Remember that you're swapping out protection in terms of proficiency debuff resistance versus your DPS, because now you're losing a pain Grasta. And if you want a way around that, then you're going to have 7 of these where you're sharing 15% resistance across all party members. And these are all dormanted, of course, and you need 7 of them carried over 2 or 3 units. And of course, all of these great zone type Grasta are from Battle Simulator. The Pierce Zone, Water Zone, Slash Zone, and of course Fire Zone are now active. I'm waiting for Blunt Zone, and of course we already have, spoiler alert, a unit in the future in Japan that can do preemptive Magic Zone as a move. We already have Wind Zone from Scion Scyther. Yeah, the game's getting quite crazy. Okay, so again, another area where you might be interested in all those true VCs. Who do I have and who do I use? Well, you can clearly see it, and remember that true proofs can be used for any form of the unit other than Alter. So for example, Myunfa, I can put it on normal style as well as AS, and you get that full boost of 15 int and power. Some of them are really, really good, like int speed or power speed. These are the ones that I always try to target, and in some cases you can use the wiki and check out which ones give you extra boosts. Yes, Thillelille. I haven't even used it. But of course, you know, obviously Suzette has the true VC for AS, regular, and so on and so forth. AS Nagi I use quite a bit, and so everyone has tons of those Tentamares anyways because they're an older unit. We all have enough Akanes to make that. I grinded Cyrus's out from, you know, so on and so forth. Yeah, all the older units are AS or whatever. I do have proofs for those units. Okay, personal Grafta obviously from the storyline. And then regular ones, if I have a 5-star of the unit, I try to have 1 VC Grafta, just so you know. And I do buy them as they come along. So, you know, just having the extra ability for some of these VCs to last 2 turns instead of 1, or in the case of where they VC in and do special abilities, those abilities do get enhanced, is well worth your time to get the Grastas as needed. Some of them I haven't upgraded because I just don't have enough special fragments and crystals, but you know, even like this one is on its way, or I'm trying to buy them to get the VC Grasta. Haha, Hina, see, I'm ready for you already. Okay. Yep. One thing about another Eden that I do find, it is a lot of grinding, although not in the painful way per se. It's painful that it takes a lot of time to get everything. However, it's not painful in the fact that, you know what? You can do it when you're watching TV, honestly. Like, especially if you're just farming materials or whatever. Running a dungeon is pretty easy nowadays as well. You can definitely one-touch everything. Just not much time here to spend on. I didn't use any Meow coins to buy any cat equipment. I am missing, I think, 2. So, again, haven't even gotten my cat levels over 4,000 yet. So, yeah, lots of things to work on. Same thing. I haven't utilized Strawboy to the fullest. He is 255. Never really customized him for that. So, I will say, unfortunate. Okay, so another area here where you're wondering where Gamer Dad has a stash of. Yeah, I got a ton of these kind of things. And the reason why is I try not to revert or waste any ore. I rather have more of the Grasa and just kind of like add them on. And so some of the numbers are low because I've used them or they're already on multiple sets of other things. So you can see that MP consumption, I do have at least 1 or 2 on each weapon type. Weak point, same thing. These ones I don't use very often. I have basically 1 set of each, like 2 plus the badge. I really should use these more often, but again, some of them I just, why you need crit rate, for example. You have a crit setter. This is where I'm totally low. I've been using their all on, you know, especially with DPS where you have 2 or 3 on the same team, everyone needs a bullseye. So that is one downside to that. These are also very, very useful. They don't always hit on the debuff. However, they give you an extra layer of protection if you're fighting certain things. And again, combo rate, I do use that quite a bit. Okay. And these are just the, you know, complex dream stuff. So again, I think I'm missing a couple. I know that when I was doing some of the fights, I was missing one of the anti-wind one. So, you know, the shielding one for the Harley can really, really shield up and get up to 60%. Or actually more than that, I think, right? 1.75, so 70%. Anyways, I don't have that. I have lots of the other things. So I haven't gone back to Complex Dream to finish that off. 12 Meow coins. Yes, I have not done... Oh. Okay, I'm going to just cut out and come back to this in just a second here. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Yeah, as you can see, Gamer Dad's busy in the morning already making these videos for you. Okay, last thing I guess on the list is the records. So some of you might be wondering how many badges I have, so you can see that right there. I'll just go with the ones I haven't done since I pretty much finished many of the things in the game. Some of these crazy ones like win 200,000 battles, I'm just not there yet. Same with some of the older fights. These Izaks, which is in, I think, is this in Karak Swampland? just not even bothering going back. Some of these from Palsiful Palace are outside there, so on and so forth. Haven't killed these, and you know, I really should. These ones are again are really annoying. The fishing ones, I'm not gonna kill 100 of those. Alarm bits, we're not going back to other lands or anything for a long time. Even something like the Purgatories, haven't gotten them all done. So, you know, all of us probably have a lot of these things to do. And so, if you are low on stones, check your award list. There definitely will be a lot of things you have not done, unless, you know, you macro everything and have everything done, right? So, you know, same thing with the story. Finish them up to date. Collection thing is another thing, right? So, you know, make sure you collect all those materials, and that's from crafting and so on and so forth. You do get chronostones, and the awards start getting really, really crazy as you get higher, right? Like, so look at this. Like, the next time we get 130 cats, we'll have 100 stones. And again, missing a couple of cat materials. If you do buy cat materials, you will, cat equipment, you will get more chronostones. And of course, the next level is 170. I believe it's not even achievable in global yet. I think the maximum should be 164. And like I said before, I'm quite close. Same thing with the fishing. Yeah, right. I'm not going to do all those. I mean, I know there are a few of you out there, which I've read on Reddit, completely finished all of these. And I applaud you. I mean, I'm not going to do that. The only thing I'm here for is fishing enough so I unlocked the materials and gotten, you know, most of the awards. And if you're wondering, some of these are obviously the 150 awards, which only are fish stones. I at least tried to get some of the chronostones one up to 100. So for example, you know, because we're all poor on chronostones. There was a time that I was rich, but that was a fleeting moment, should I say. And of course, trials, if you do those, make sure you claim those every month. I still have not used my free trial, everyone. So just waiting. You know, I would love to, just haven't gotten there. And same thing with the cats, haven't beaten level 4000. All right, I think that covers everything. Yeah, so hopefully that gives you an idea of the account I have. Let me know in your comments below if you had any specific questions about the account, or just you know, any comments about the account in general. Obviously, hopefully your accounts are just as you know, awesome for yourself, and you're able to beat everything you can in the game. And again, as always, keep on grinding. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.